Max Howell. Good morning.
Max.
Good morning, Max.
Hey, guys. How y'all this morning?
Fine. The two quarterbacks Alabama have, I'm going to get this over with. One passes it pretty well, but can't tell if he can run, and Blake, and the other kid is probably a dual threat quarterback. If you start Blake, then you come in with strength when you substitute. You got a better player coming in right now with a substitution. If you don't do it that way and you start the one that played maybe the best, I don't know whether you substitute Blake early or not. How are they going to start against? And I know this is not really a good team to ask that question against, probably, but how are they going to start on that?
Well, I think they got to start Hurts. I'll be honest with you guys. He's still got a million miles to grow. They're going to have to give him as many snaps as he's got. And you saw the other night, he's by far the best athlete. And that's what we talked about all along with him. And they're going to make things – well, he's going to grow into it appears – he's going to grow into probably one of the best quarterbacks ever played there. He's got the athletic ability, but you can't do that subbing him out. I think they're going to play him. I think they'll play him a quarter and a half or so, and they may stick somebody else in there at the end of the first half, and in particular in the third and fourth quarter, they may sub. But they're going to give him two things they need: confidence for him, and also the leadership thing for the team. I think they need to let everybody know that he is the quarterback. He's going to be the quarterback, and he's going to make things happen. And I was talking to James just a moment before we went on the air. When I knew that he was going to be the quarterback, and knowing Coach Saban, watching him through the years, normally when they put a kid in like that and he bobbles the first snap, loses a fumble, they don't put him back in for a while. And what did he do? The next series, he comes right back on the field. So I knew then that he was the guy that was going to, well, I felt like I did, that was going to be that's who the quarterback's going to be. And I think that's the way they're going to handle it, Coach.
Well, I think Blake, I think what they would like to do, I don't know anything about anything, but I would think that they would want Blake to feel like he's part of it. That he has a chance that if something happens, the other kid doesn't play well, it gets hurt, that he is part of the quarterback system. They're only going to have two, and he's either one or two. I think they'd like to keep him.
I agree with you. I think they have to have him involved in the program, but also, of course, we don't go to practice every day. We don't know what all is being said and how they do the snap, the number of reps. Yeah. But I almost tell you, this early in the kid's career, in Hurts' career, they're going to have to start him just for that, just to signify that, hey, he is the leader, he is the starter, but yet we're going to play another quarterback because we've got to have two in this league.
Okay.
Max, I know the Alabama coaching staff's not going to do this, but we're not coaching, so we will. Let's jump Western Kentucky and turn our attention to Ole Miss for a minute. As I watched them on Monday night, I don't think I could coach Chad Kelly. I mean, he does a lot of great things, but then he just puts the ball in the air with a chance to be picked off too much. The way they play, I think, of course, they beat Alabama twice now, so I could be wrong, but I think they wear their defense out. They try to play so fast, and that defense wore out in the second half. I don't think they got two guys hurt there. Just what's your impression of this Ole Miss team, and can they try to play that fast against Alabama again and win? I just think that Chad Kelly makes too many mistakes.
Well, but here's the thing, they ain't got anybody else. I mean, regardless. I mean, they got a young Shea Patterson who's going to be pretty good. I mean, he's not as good as Jalen Hurts, but he's going to be pretty good. I've been to practice. Let me tell you guys why they wear out. First of all, FSU ran 93 snaps against them. And second is they don't have, and I said this right here to you guys last week, they don't have enough talent to play a team at that level that fast. They don't have enough defensive players.
No.
They've got 25 or 26 players that can play. You've got to have 40 to 50. They don't have them yet. And may never get them. But I'm just saying, this is their philosophy. And I've heard Freeze tell the team this. They got to score as many points as quick as they can and then hang on. That's the whole philosophy over there. And then you notice when they came back the second half, they went full command. When the halftime came, they came back, had to put the defense right back out there. Well, those guys could not recoup fast enough in 15 minutes to play against a team like Florida State or Alabama. It's going to be the same thing, I predict to you.
In your opinion, Max, What will that line open up as?
12-14.
Wow. 12 or 14?
I do believe that. I mean, I that's the realistic now. The gamblers do something different. I'm saying Alabama's 12-14 points, at least better than them. I think Alabama's defense is way better than Florida State's. Again, I think there are things happen. But Alabama laid it on the ground last year, guys, 5 times. I don't care how good you are, you can't win at that rate. However, I'll say this. In defense of Alabama, if the game lasted 2 more minutes, they'd have won that ball game last year, too.
Yeah. Dad?
What about losing Webster going to hurt them?
Losing who?
The Webster kid, is that going to hurt him?
Oh, yeah. It will, Coach. Yeah, he's going for the year. In fact, I heard last night his career may be over. They don't know what the outcome is. They lost 2. Both those kids got hurt or gone for the year, certainly. Again, the depth problem is where they run into. They can put 25 out there, 26 that can play, but you can't play in this league at that level with Florida State and Alabama and those guys in the top teams in the country. You can't play, unless the other team helps you a lot. And Florida State certainly helped them to begin with, and Kelly picked them apart. Start with by playing fast, and I look for them to come out and do the same thing. They'll play their ones against Wofford this week, but maybe one quarter. Then they're gonna let those kids get some rest, and they'll play 2s and 3s the rest of the day, and score maybe 32-20 or something like that against a really weak football team. But they don't think that they aren't working on Alabama this morning. I can tell you that right now.
Max, I don't buy people talking about like Mississippi State wasn't ready to play. If you're not ready to play the first game of the season, I don't care who's over there, then you got a lot of issues. Mississippi State
17 first half.
Okay. Mississippi State, South Carolina this weekend. I think Mill Muschamp, I was telling a guy earlier in the show, I thought his sideline demeanor was excellent.
It was.
Against Vanderbilt, because they were horrible the first half. I wanted to blow a gasket for him. But he kept his composure.
He did.
Is Mississippi State just that bad? I mean, come on, South Alabama didn't even have a program 10 years ago. They shouldn't go in there and beat you. How do you see this Mississippi State-South Carolina game?
I got South Carolina beating them, and I'll tell you why. Because Will's defense played really well. Here's what I've noticed about Will's defense against Vanderbilt, and I thought Vanderbilt was way better coached. I'll be honest with you. They made fewer mistakes. I thought they were a little bit smoother, but South Carolina's defense had a few more athletes than Vanderbilt did, and they flew around on defense, guys. They turned themselves loose. They're going to do the same thing against Mississippi State. Mississippi State doesn't have enough talent right now. And they're young. They changed the defensive coordinator. They got 5 new coaches on the defensive side, and they've changed the scheme. And you don't think much about going from a 3-man front to a 4-man or 4 to a 3. But what that does is that means you got to have more and better athletes at the linebacker and the free safety and strong safety position. I don't think they got them right now. So I look for South Carolina to win that ball game.
Is LSU ever going to get their offense straightened out or find them a quarterback that can play or let the one that they have play in a different way?
Not as long as Cam Cameron stays there.
Yeah, that's what I've
said that for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy, guys, and you've both been around a long time. When you got an offensive coordinator, then you got a team that's headed to the Super Bowl, and you fire him in the second game of the playoff, and that's like they did Cameron with the Ravens. There's a reason for that. 2 things. One, some decisions that are being made, particularly on the sideline, and the communication problem. And that's where I think he has. And Juan Les Miles, I will say this to you. If they continue, obviously, I think there'll be a change there. And Les Miles has no one to blame but himself because he wouldn't make the change on offense last year.
Yeah.
He was told to do that, too, by the way.
Yeah.
We have to talk Auburn. Are they just going to now go with Stan White and maybe throw in the other kid every once in a while? I mean,
that's all they can do,
they only lost by 6 points. But the talk is about Gus and how he handled the quarterbacks. It's not about how great the defense played. But what does Auburn just now going to go with White and sink or swim with him? Because after this week, if they can get by Arkansas State, they got, I think, A&M and LSU. They don't have a lot of time to be trying to figure it out. And I think Dad said it perfectly the other day. They were trying to figure it out during the game. That's a tough time to be figuring it out against the number 2 team in the country. What is Auburn doing?
Well, the defense played well enough for them to win. I don't think anybody can deny that. They played better than I even suspected. I've made the statement to you guys. I'm not a Kevin Steele fan. I've watched his career all the way from when he went to Clemson to Alabama to LSU and back to Auburn. Just some things there that just didn't match up with a lot of other places that I know that I've watched before. But the fact is that they're going to play good, hard-nosed defense. They got another guy, and I had a long conversation with a huge Auburn fan yesterday about why, quote, they want to redshirt this young freshman. If he's the best player they got in the style that they run, guys, there's 100 quarterbacks out there in this country that can play in that style. And why they hadn't gone and gotten one, I don't know. Sean White's a good young kid. He can throw the ball pretty well, can't outrun me or you. But the fact is that offense is predicated on a running quarterback, and they don't have one right now. So, even why they stuck Jeremy Johnson back in there, that baffles me to no end. But he's gone now, I think, from everything that was released this week. You talk about the Franklin kid. To me, he's a much better running back or slot back, than he is a quarterback. He wasn't even starting quarterback at East Mississippi. He was the number 2 guy. But now the kid's got some talent. He's probably the fastest kid that got on the squad. So, you look at all that and see, to me, there's been some wrong or bad decisions made on the evaluation of some of the kids that got in there on the offensive side. I think the defense, if they can bring some of the younger kids along, they're going to play good defense, and they can win 6 or 7, I think, with a good defense and just an adequate offense. They didn't have an adequate offense on Saturday night.
Is Virginia Tech as good as App State?
That's about that's about the same. I think that's about the same level, Coach.
Okay.
And their defensive line might not be as good as App State was.
App State was pretty good, I thought.
They are. They did. They caused Tennessee some major problems. But again, I have not been on the Tennessee bandwagon from day one. Still not. They showed me about what I thought they would the other night. They win the football game, but a huge disappointment in their performance. I don't look for them to be a whole lot better. And I think it'll probably end up. We don't know about Florida yet. They didn't play very well against UMass. It rained all night. But that game between, I think it's the 24th, between Tennessee and Florida, I think will eliminate one of them out of the East. Then it'll be Georgia and somebody else.
Put Chad Kelly aside, because I'm not a bigger fan of his as most. Everybody, all the talk before the season was about the Alabama quarterback this, that, and the other. Alabama's got the best freaking quarterbacks in the league from what I saw after the first week.
That's right.
I mean, Dobbs, I'm not sold on Dobbs. I think he's a lot like Harris. I don't think he can throw. Now, he may can rise up one game and play terrific and win a humongous game, but consistency is a problem. I don't think you can win game in and game out with Dobbs. Alabama seems like to me they got the best quarterbacks in the league.
But I agree with that, guys. But let's look at the team itself. Alabama is going to continue to win because they are dominant on defense.
Sure.
If you can stop the other team, put your offense in a good position, you don't have to drive the ball 80 yards to score. You're going to do a lot better. Here's the thing about Tennessee, and if you watch them close, and this is what's going to be their downfall, they're going to lose to Alabama and maybe another one or two along the way. Their offense and defensive front are not physical. They don't knock people off the ball. They don't get after you every snap. They'll play a good snap or two, and then they'll take a play or two off. And some of that comes from the sideline. Some of it comes from practice, from Sunday to Friday. A lot of that, the overall picture of that program, in my opinion, still has a long, long way to go before they become a national contender.
Well, they talk too much to me. It's like Southern Cal, the way they came out of the locker room swaying and swooping and hooping. Man, just run out there and play some football. All that talking, I think Tennessee, that guy targets the guy. He's running his mouth off the field. Just shut up and go to the locker room. I don't know. Those guys that talk so much, I'm glad Saban has a policy, don't talk to the other team. They don't ever try to show you up. Yeah, they get excited on a big play, but I don't know. I like his system, not just because he's winning, but I like the professionalism of the way they handle it. There's probably
it is, but there's not many out there that I'm not saying that can't handle the kids, but won't handle the kids.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches, I hate to say this today in today's market, but some of the coaches, regardless of how much money they're making, they still somewhat afraid, the job scared, and they afraid they go out there and work hard to get all these kids there, and then the kids pout, because it's a different mentality with these young kids coming out today. They've been superstars since they were 10 years old, and they think the world owes them a living and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we all know the social problems that go along, and I think it's magnified when they get to the top programs. There's a lot of head coaches can't handle that. I've been on some staffs that way before.
All right, Max, before we find out what's for supper, this is the most important question I'm going to ask you, all right?
All right.
I'm playing fantasy football. I'm playing my neighbor. I got a bunch of kids in my league and the neighbor, and I got to know who to start this week. And I don't know if you follow fantasy football.
No, I do not.
Well, I got Carson Palmer. He's playing the New England Patriots, and I got Jameis Winston, who's playing the Falcons. I can only play one of them. I need to know who to play.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a Jameis Winston fan. I know a lot about how he got to Florida State, and I lost a lot of respect for Jimbo when all that came down. But he is a good, talented athlete. I'm going to go with Winston.
All right, I'll take that. All right, Max, tell us. I hope you're right, because Monday's going to be difficult for you if you weren't. I got to beat my neighbor. Now, I got to beat him. He calls himself the fantasy guru. All right, Max, tell us what's for supper.
Hey, man, this weekend, I love this. These are the kind of days I love. Last weekend, dove season opened in Mississippi. This group I cooked for killed over 100 birds. I'm going to cook for 25 on Sunday afternoon. We're going to have dove. I'm going to take them. They've already cleaned. They already breasted out. I'm going to wrap them in bacon, stuff the insides with jalapeno peppers, cook them on a grill. And I got a huge grill. I can cook them all at one time. I don't have to sub out. We'll have grilled dove. We'll have a green bean casserole. I'll have a couple of different salads. A potato salad goes with that very well, and a green salad. I make a what I call a juiced up Thousand Island sauce. It's called comeback sauce. It's got a little more vinegar, and it gives you a little kick with your salad. Homemade cat head biscuits. If you've never had those, I'm talking about the biscuits about big as your fist. You won't be able to eat but one or two of those along with that. Wash all that down with a big old pitcher of sweet iced tea. And for dessert, all these guys love homemade banana pudding. And here's the difference. I put a really thick base in it, and I probably overdo the banana. I don't do a whole lot of vanilla wafers in mine. But when I take it out, on the side, I have crunched pecans. I have really pecan. They're really cut up fine, and I sprinkle that either on the fold the banana pudding over like an omelet, and fill the center with pecans. You're talking about good, guys. That will make you want to take a nap.
All right, Dad didn't say on that one, so
it's pretty good
because it didn't have ice cream on it. So
Yeah.
All right, Max, I'm leaning towards Jameis, but I got a poll question up for all our listeners. I'll let you know how that turns out next week. So
all right, well, good luck, guys, and then another great weekend of college football.